We've got fast cars, hot women, a love story, high stakes drama, awesome heists. We got ourselves a banger, folks. Hey, what's going on, folks? Chris from Cinema Hooked, and today I'm here with a new movie review. This week I saw Crime 101, starring Chris Hemsworth, Halle Berry, Barry Keoghan, Nick Nolte, and of course, the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo. I decided I'd try and get into character, go a little method, and try and dress like Chris Hemsworth character in the movie, and it's a little snug. It's been a while since I've worn this, and I put on a little bit of weight. Now, when the trailer first dropped for this movie months back, I saw it. It looked interesting, but it wasn't exactly on my watch list of ooh, I need to see that. I need to see that movie. But the more trailers I kept seeing, little TV spots and stuff, I was convinced. I was like, you know what? I think this is my kind of movie. I want to go see this movie. And it was one hell of a palate cleanser after I saw Dracula, which, if you saw my review last week, obviously I wasn't a fan of it. A lot of you liked it though, and you know, hey, I'm jealous of it. I wish I'd liked it. When I spend money to go see a movie, I want to walk away having enjoyed myself. But enough about that. I've talked enough about that one. Let's talk Crime 101. Just want to talk a little bit about the movie before I jump right into spoilers so we can, those of you who have also seen it, we can talk about some of the details of this film. But basically, you've got a guy, he is a robber. He robs people. He's a heist guy. And he has a boss that he basically Chris Hemsworth cases out potential jobs, brings it to kind of his middleman guy that gets him the money, they share their cut and all that. And he's trying to get, to that number that thieves have. Like, man, once I make 20 million, I'm out of the game. I'm going to move to some island. I'm going to, put my money in some Swiss bank account or in the Cayman Islands, whatever it is. They just want to hit that number. And this guy's a really good guy, actually. We don't really know it from the trailers necessarily, but you do find out that Chris Hemsworth character in this movie is a good guy despite the fact that he robs people, because it's not exactly a Robin Hood thing. He's not stealing from the rich and giving it to the poor. He's keeping it for himself, because we do find out in this movie, it's not a huge spoiler, but plug your ears if you don't want to hear it, but he came from a rough background. It seemed like maybe beaten as a child and then grew up in a foster home, had, I think, a juvenile record because, you know what? No more. That's kind of spoiler. So I'm not going to say any more about that background stuff. I just really want to talk full spoilers here, but I'm going to try not to. But let's talk about some things I did like about this film. I really liked the writing. I thought it was really good. One thing I really appreciated was the cinematography. I thought there were some really cool shots in this film. They did this, not really a trick, just kind of a, I don't know. I'm just going to call it a trick. It's not a trick, though. It's not a trick. I just can't think of the word I want to use. But basically, a person's reaching into their bag, I'm about to reach into my bag. And then, it cuts to the next angle and it's a person in their bag and they pull it out, but it's a different character. And there was another one where Mark Ruffalo is putting on a shirt. And then, when the white fills up the screen, the shirt tucks down. Oh, it's Chris Hemsworth put on the shirt. It was just cool little editing tricks that I thought that was neat. I appreciated it as a person who enjoys cinematography. I thought those were really cool. The color grading was really nice in this. The score, it was neither here nor there. I didn't be like, oh, wow, this score is really good. I also wasn't like, yeah, weird song choice. So I'm going to say it was, it was exactly what it needed to be. It didn't stand out in oh my God way. And it didn't stand out this isn't good kind of way. So score, I'm going to give you a 7 out of 10 because you kind of went unnoticed, but sometimes that's a good thing. Should we just jump right into spoilers? Just jump right into, because I really just want to talk freely and go into it. So all right, so spoiler warning, we're going full spoilers here. Let's go. You know what, actually, before we jump right into spoilers, I would just say, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe down below, hit the little like button like the sign there says, and let's continue. Absolutely loved Chris Hemsworth in this movie. This is the first Chris Hemsworth-led film that I've ever seen outside of his Thor films. I didn't see those Extraction films from the Russo brothers that were on Netflix. I haven't seen any of his other solo projects. So this was my first taste of that. Is he a leading man? Can he lead a film? And 100% yes. Chris Hemsworth can absolutely lead a film and carry a film. There was a good balance of all these characters. Halle Berry, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth. Barry Keoghan had a little bit. And Barry Keoghan, that was a wild performance. That character he didn't necessarily achieve when you just hate a character like in Game of Thrones, the Bolton son, Ramsay. you're like, you know, F that guy. Like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy die on screen. But, you know, Barry Keoghan didn't quite reach that level of hate, but he was just mental. I mean, crazy performance. I thought it was really good. Didn't necessarily make us hate it. It almost made you feel bad for him. It's like, what's the twisted background of this kid? Like, I almost feel like there should be a movie about his character's father, because Nick Nolte does mention his father, and like, oh, you wouldn't believe some of the things your dad did. And I'm now, can I get a spin-off movie of like his dad is like a heist guy and like the crazy stuff that he did? Because that could actually be, that could be cool. I mean, if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood can get a spin-off movie with Brad Pitt, let's give a spin-off movie of this. One thing I really liked about this film that some films fail to accomplish is the pacing. The pacing felt perfect. At no point was I like, come on, can like we get to the next thing? And another part of it was tone, the tone of a film. The tone stayed the same, you know? It was like an anxiety-driven, heart-pumping, just not action movie, just suspense. It was kind of the thrill. It was like an action, thriller, drama. It was really, it didn't know exactly where it was going. And the ending that we got, I didn't exactly see that ending. We're in spoiler territory. I didn't expect to have that happy of an ending. I mean, because everybody walked away happy, except for Barry Keoghan's character, obviously. He's like, dead. Overall, great performances by everyone. The trailers are a little deceptive because 100%, I think we all went in thinking, okay, Halle Berry's going to turn crook in this. She's going to become partners with Chris Hemsworth. Okay, all right. And just as quickly as she decides to jump into the life of crime, bam, she's talking to a cop, informing on Chris Hemsworth's character, and now she's working for the police because she's trying to get out of this terrible situation that she put herself in. Well, actually, Mike, Chris Hemsworth's character, one of his many aliases, kind of got her into the situation, but she did the right thing. At the end of the day, she did the right thing. Shocked Barry Keoghan's character didn't kill her. He seems like, I'll kill anyone. I don't want to kill it. Like, very conflicted character. It was a very interesting character. Wild performance. Really good. Really liked Barry Keoghan in this. That was also actually one of my favorite parts of the film, was the chase scene between Chris Hemsworth and Barry Keoghan on the motorcycle and in the Charger. I thought that was awesome. Just high adrenaline pumping action, suspenseful. I love a good car chase. And I love that later in the film, we see it in the trailers, Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth, their characters are talking about old Steve McQueen films and the film Bullet, and then the Thomas Crown Affair, and you have car chases, you got the Mustangs. So it was cool to get like a really cool car chase scene in this film. Overall, great movie, especially for a February movie. January, they're kind of notorious for like really bad films that are going to be long forgotten come later in the year. But this one, I think, is going to stick with me, you know. I'll rate it on Letterboxd later, but for now, my 1 to 10 rating system, I'm giving this an 8. I really enjoyed myself in this film, and if you are new to this channel, I like to do the 1 to 10 scale, because 1 to 5, you know, 1 to 5 stars, whatever, 1 to 5, that's not enough to judge a film. 1 to 10 gives you much more of a range. I'm giving it an 8, and you're wondering, an 8 for some heist movie or whatever? Yes, for some heist movie or whatever. Like, this was given like Heat vibes. No, I'm not saying it's as good as Heat, or, you know, I'm not saying it is Heat. Just saying it like gave you those vibes. It was just this really good drama, action, thriller, just balanced. It was such a balanced film, and I really, really enjoyed it. There was a couple laugh moments, but nothing that was like cheap. Some people were laughing at some stuff, but for the most part, there was like maybe 2 spots where I kind of laughed, and it was kind of like, you know what, we're in spoiler territory. When Halle Berry goes off on her boss and tells him to shut the up, that was, oh man, the whole theater was just like, yeah, girl, you tell him, you tell him. And 8 out of 10, I rate films on, 1, their quality, you know, the cinematography, the writing, the directing, you know, all that stuff. The actors, were they good? Costume design, all that stuff. But the biggest factor in me rating a movie is how much I enjoyed myself. And I really enjoyed myself in the theater. And also those facets of the cinematography, the directing, the writing, the acting, those were all really good too. So all around, like, I loved it. I think it had, if I had any kind of critique, and it's not something I disliked, it was almost too happy of an ending. Like, everyone was like, yay, I stole a bunch of diamonds, I'm a millionaire. I got my dream car. Ooh, I'm rich now too. Like, I'm gonna fall in love with this girl and we're gonna run away together. It was a little too happy, but that's okay. It's okay to walk out of the movie and be like, oh, cool. Everyone got their happy ending. And for being straight up and honest, all of those three characters, from Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Chris Hemsworth, they all deserved a happy ending. You know, Mark Ruffalo's getting screwed at work because of crooked cops. Halle Berry's not getting the promotion she's obviously earned over her 11-year tenure at this insurance company. And Chris Hemsworth, he was the good kind of crook. And he had a really rough childhood. And he got, you know, pulled into this world of being a criminal. It's not necessarily what he wanted, but it's like what he had to do to try and get out from under where he was. Because he even makes the comment about how, you know, I was in those shoes once, you know, they didn't fit or something like that, you know, where he was living on the streets and he was homeless. And the only way to get out of that was a life of crime. But what did you guys think of the movie? If you already saw Crime 101, I'd love to know what you guys thought. Did you like it as much as me? How would you rate it? What did you like? What didn't you like? I'd love to talk about it in the comments. And again, if you're new to this channel, I'd love it if you subscribe down below. Hit the like button also, like the sign there says. And like always, let's keep the conversation going after the video ends, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.